Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to be with you today in the distance. I regret very much I am not able to be with you in Nicosia in your discussions. I have to stay here in Brussels, in the fog of Brussels, but I wish you a very successful conference today and tomorrow. I would like, on behalf of the European Commission, to mention some of the key elements that you are going to be discussing in the coming days on a very important topic. And the very important topic is what are the challenges and opportunities related to building a circular economy for the islands, for the European islands. We all know we are facing increasingly negative environmental consequences. Climate change, lack of biodiversity, environmental problems, but also economic and social issues are having a big impact in the way we produce, in the way we consume, in the way we conduct our lives. And we have to change the linear traditional economic model. We can no longer continue with the produce, consume, and throw away model. We need to behave in a different way. We need to go for a more efficient circular economy model. The circular economy combines competitive advantages for Europe, but also more sustainability in production and consumption. If we become more circular, we will pollute less, we will be more resource efficient, and we will also create new jobs. Developing the circular economy has never been more urgent, and it is now also part of the European industrial and economic policy. We see everywhere new economic models, we see new business opportunities, we see companies, we see startups, we see more and more businesses seizing the opportunities of circularity. But in order to become fully competitive, in order to go for the circular economy, we need to select the right policy tools. Tools at European, at local, at regional, and at national levels. And these tools will condition our choices. And the choices have to be made by the citizens, they need to be made also by the citizens and by business. People tend to think of the circular economy as one big loop, but the reality is that there are millions of transactions, and in each of these transactions, circular opportunities exist. Now, what about the situation of the islands? The islands are facing more challenges than other territories in Europe. In islands, local resources are scarce, and the capacity for waste management is more limited. Access to external resources is more difficult, because islands do not have the benefits of the economies of scale of large mainland market, which come from easily connected networks. Islands are often penalized because of high transport costs. And islands also have to face seasonal fluctuations of population. You know what it is, the seasonality, the period where millions of tourists come and then they leave. And the pressure on the resources and the pressure on the need to manage efficiently the activities in the islands. It is important to invest in infrastructure, it is important to invest in water, in waste management. There are many important structural needs which islands have to face. Now, what can the Commission do? And what can the European Union do? And what do we propose to tackle the situation of the islands? I would like to mention 4 very important priority areas. First of all, water management. Water management is a crucial topic. Freshwater resources in Europe, across the world, are under considerable stress, and it is going to become more and more difficult with climate change. Reuse of water is an excellent solution. Local wastewater systems in islands are often not equipped to manage the stress linked with high peak visits. Often, local infrastructure needs to be upgraded to ensure environmental sustainability. We need more efficient water management systems. This is why the European Union is promoting an initiative to promote the safe reuse of treated wastewater and to set the minimum requirements for reused water to protect freshwater resources. Our legislative proposal on water reuse will benefit islands by supporting circularity in water management. The second area I want to deal with is waste. Waste management is particularly important. And islands are surrounded by seas, and there we see the impact of plastic littering, which is damaging our marine ecosystems and our coastal economies. Islands' residents and local communities are closer to the seas and to the oceans, and you are therefore more exposed to plastic marine litter and to its consequences. Our plastic strategy, the EU directive on single-use plastics and fishing gear, is the way forward. The European Union is the first region in the world who is fighting seriously against marine litter. And our initiative against single-use plastics is going to have an impact because it will deal with 70% of the marine litter. We need to accelerate the measures to do more. We need to fight marine littering, and we need to promote plastic which are circular, which are reusable, and which are recyclable. It is crucial to protect marine ecosystems, the islands, as well as the economies. But there is a third very important issue, which I know is of your concern, and this deals with tourism. We need more sustainable tourism. The tourism of the future has to be sustainable, because tourism has an impact on waste, on water resources, on mobility, on biodiversity, and the tourism sector has also to become circular. It is very important that we have this circular approach and we go for a more sustainable tourism, both in terms of the energy, also in terms of the transport, but also in terms of the behavior of the tourists. And sustainable tourism is something which the consumers also want. The EU eco-label for tourism accommodation is a business opportunity for all of you to promote circularity in the tourist sector, but also to inform consumers. I come to my fourth and last point, and this is mobility. There are three main opportunities in the islands in this area. First of all, we can find solutions for traffic congestion, air quality, and also road accidents, because during the tourist season we see more and more of these problems. The Commission has set up the Civitas 2020 platform. This is a platform which offers a wealth of solutions specifically tailored to islands. I'm talking about best practices which are supporting sustainable development inspired by circular economy principles. I think it is very important to connect our ideas, to learn about these best practices, and to put in place sustainable tourism, sustainable mobility, sustainable water management, sustainable waste policies in the islands. There is a huge potential from member states to learn from each other on how to better address the island-specific challenges. I conclude because I know you have a very rich agenda ahead of you in the next 2 days. There will be panels, there will be presentations of concrete projects. You are going to gather more knowledge, more exchanges on circular economy, about the leading actors of the transition. You will also look at the opportunities for future cooperation. You will also look at the solutions. And I would like to ask you to share these results with us, with the European Commission, because the European Commission remains fully committed to sustainable development. We have to work together. We need to deal, in particular, with the territories which are under greater pressure, and I see a very important role for the future to promote the circular economy in the islands. In this purpose, and towards this goal, you will always have the support of the European Commission. I wish you a very productive discussion during these 2 days. Thank you very much.